Sanibona emakhaya, igama lami Scelo Ngubane. Today we have our special guest. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Sanibonani emakhaya, igama lami nguScelo. Ngu-SN nami.
Yes.
uScelo Nkosi. I am an author. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a farmer. I'm a management consultant. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm an uncle. I'm a son. I'm almost everything that a person can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time I met you, it was because of a motivation. I was told Scelo motivator.
Yes.
What drew you to motivation?
Ask the question again.
Yini yakuletha ku motivation?
I don't know, I don't know. We don't know the things that God has invested in us. But obviously, when you meet someone else out there who's got the same spark, that sparks your spark.
Oh, wow.
So I met Hector Muda when I was in college. That was in 1999.
Yeah.
And I did
Hector
not
the motivator.
Hector the motivator. And I said, this is exactly what I want to do. This is what I want to become. And I did not know what motivation was. Then I started walking from Orlando to Dube, Kaya Center, where I've started my motivational talks. I went there three times.
Wow.
Consecutive days. And the person I was supposed to see was not available each time I went. But when I got there the third time and then I went, and then as we were having a conversation with Nana, who was a presenter at that time, while we were having a conversation, Nana broke the rules. She said, I like what I hear. Let's go on air.
Wow.
And that's how I started getting that slot under Mpom Shong, who was a programs manager at the time. Then I started growing, and then Fanakaba Kabzela had me while he was going to the YFM studios. And then he invited me, and then I was invited by Lawrence Dube, it was Dudu Koza, a whole lot of them, Vusilitswalo, who was with, at the time, with Metro FM, a whole lot of other radio stations, really, that I've worked with, but it was coming from there.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was Hector Mudau, who actually shifted me from what I initially wanted to do, which was computer programming. And then I said, no, I'm not going this route.
This is where you're going.
This is where I'm going. And this is where I am today with motivation. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a great story to tell.
Yeah.
You wrote a book. My favorite book of yours is Limping from Great Mess to Greatness. I know now you wrote The Legacy. We'll speak about it. But tell us about From Great Mess to Greatness.
That was not meant to be a book. It was me expressing my frustrations on paper. And when I sent whatever I was writing to my then mentor, not then mentor because he's still my mentor, to my mentor, Buyane Zwane.
Okay.
Buyane Zwane said, you wrote very well. I'm taking this book to the States. And that book was written at the internet cafe. My mother used to give me 15 rands to go write whatever I was writing. I don't know what is it that I was writing. But Buyane saw a book in that. And then when he saw that, he then said, let us take it to Trafford. That was in the UK. Then it was published. It was actually edited and then published in the US. Then that's how Limping from Great Mess to Greatness. But yeah, Limping from Great Mess to Greatness is a favorite to a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
And maybe because I wasn't aiming to write a book, that's why I sometimes do not think, even now you see Legacy. You don't see, because I don't even know where are my copies of Limping from Great Mess to Greatness. But it is beginning to register to me that it is one book that people are relating to. Yeah.
Especially the pain. You're saying you were writing about your pain there. You were putting all the frustrations in the paper, and pain is a strange company keeper to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think people can relate to the the genuine communication that is coming from the book. That's one thing that I want to believe, because I was very genuine. I wasn't writing for anyone. I was writing back to myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And obviously I was in pain. I had a son at that time. No, sons. Like I had two actually at that time when I wrote that book. That was somewhere 2009, 2008. It was published in 2000 and no, I wrote it in 2010. It was published in 2013, just before Junior was born. And I was in a situation that everything that I needed to do, I needed to be carried. Ngubane, and but I had this firm belief that I will limp from my greatness to my greatness, because the limping was coming from the fact that, as you rightfully said, from the fact that I had pain of saying I see so much in the world that needs to be done that I can contribute to. But what is it that is holding me back? When is my time coming? And Professor Shabalala kept on saying, ungayiboleki imali ebhanoyi uyozufike nawe phesheya, which means don't be in a hurry to get to your destiny. You will eventually get there. And because he was a very wise man, he was speaking in parables. I did not understand what he meant. I thought maybe because Lady Smith Black Mambazo was going overseas, he thought maybe I would want to borrow money so that I can accompany them. But I later discovered that no, that's not what he meant. He meant that don't be in a hurry to get where you want to go. You will get there. But it was that time of limping when he was saying a whole lot of things. I remember when he had a radio interview with the Lady Smith Black Mambazo in Rosebank, when YFM was still in Rosebank. And then I said to him, but Malume, can't you talk to a Fresh so that he can interview me? He said, if God has deposited this gift in you, you should rather trust him to bring it out. Don't go around begging people to take out the gift in you. He said, esho ngesizulu ethi uma ngabe ngokusiza namhlanje ukuthi ungene kulo msakazo, yiliphi igama oyolibonga? Uyobonga igama likamalume noma uyobonga igama lenkosi leli likunikeze gift? So I was limping. And if you read that book, there is a passage where I was saying that it felt like, Dr. Shabalala was actually oppressing me. But I've heard him saying that over and over again, even to his sons, that nazoke, when people start praising what God is doing through their music. He's a man, he's a philosopher. He was a philosopher, he's a man who drove us. But limping from great mess was something that was coming right within me to communicate back to myself. And then people loved what I wrote to myself. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And just to zoom in, and you look back and you say, writing that book at the time, you're saying you didn't aim to make it one of the bestseller or even the impact that it has, because one thing I always, salute you on the book was that you wrote while you were in the situation. You didn't wait that the mess will be over and I will write when I'm in my greatness. You wrote while you were still in your great mess.
A bestseller, how, Ngubane, if the book was written at an internet cafe? I had no hope of publishing that thing. I relied on my mother to give me 15 rands. Why would I think that the book would be published? There was no way.
Wow.
There was no way the book could have been published. There was no way. And so I was writing to myself. That's why I even forget. I told you the other
Yeah.
day. I even forget the times that I've written books. I remember when people ask me that they are books, they are copies, they are published books.
There's your name there.
There's my name there. Because even the legacy itself was written in a situation. So I just express myself. Ngoba kuye kube ngathi angizwakali. People struggle to understand me. You know, it's like I'm talking to myself. What I'm saying to people do not hear it. So I have made pen and paper my friend.
Wow. The legacy.
The legacy.
Tell us about the situation. How did it prompt to?
You see, with the legacy, it was a different story. It's a combination of fear, pain, and despair. During lockdown level 5, when I was thinking that, hey, we're going to die. Coronavirus.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone tells you this virus is on the air, what are the chances of me not breathing that air? Think about it, Ngubane. Think about it. I was beginning to lose hope that we will die. But besides that, we have just lost Dr. Shabalala. You would remember that in February, he was buried, and then in March, we went into that hard lockdown. And then I was looking at what his sons are doing in terms of carrying his legacy forward. His music, what he has done, what he has taught us. And I'm telling you, besides him, for him to be a musician is one thing. But besides being a musician, there was a philosopher, a teacher, a whole lot of people who have benefited from his philosophy. And then I thought of legacy, and I wanted to say grazing from my grandfather's grave. That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say beyond the grave. And then my editor, which is Busiso Mfega then, said, get one word that will be catchy, and then that word was legacy. But I said I can't leave the greatness beyond the grave, because that's what legacy is. So yes, I'm passionate. This is what I'm doing right now with One Life. We are on a tour where we are encouraging people to leave a legacy deliberately, not just leave a legacy, but to leave a legacy deliberately. You need to start looking into what is it that you want to leave behind. You want to think about what is it that you want to be remembered for. You also want to make sure that you have an enabler. That's why we are encouraging people to have life cover and funeral covers, because we have also noticed that a lot of our people, they want to be buried in expensive caskets, but they do not look at the expenses that they are leaving for their loved ones, the universities, the cars, the bonds, the debts that are there, which for me, I still feel, even before One Life and SNC agreed that we need to be partnering on it, I was feeling that there is something that this generation should be fighting, and that struggle is a struggle of living a legacy deliberately. And if you were to ask any generation, they would have had their struggle and to overcome. What is the struggle of this generation? And for me, I had to define that. And in defining it, I then said, no. We need to leave a legacy. This poverty is perpetuated by a certain mindset, a mindset of instant gratification. When I have it, I want to have it now. And when I have it now, I want to eat it now. And when I eat it, I want to finish it now. So it's everything now. We are not thinking about the foundation that you are laying for the next generation, which is one of the things that has pulled down this black nation. And this is exactly what we want to correct. We want to correct the mindset. Yes, people think that we want to increase sales, which in fact is the truth, because if people understand what does a life cover means, if people understand what does disability and investments mean, then sales will automatically increase. But if people do not understand and they believe that the myth that when you talk about your own death, you are digging your own grave, we need to demystify that.
Yeah.
We need to deal with such myths that holds our people back. So that's why we are pushing legacy.
Wow. A lot of times, and I think I salute you for writing about legacy, is that majority of great people, when they leave the business, when they their time on earth is over, we look at who's the successor. I saw you wrote about that quote. There's no success without a successor. To say, how do you plan your exit while you're still alive?
One of the greatest fall of Africa is holding on to leadership and power too much.
The fear.
I don't think it's fear. I think it's greed. I think it's the feeling of inadequacy.
Okay.
The only thing that makes me great is this position.
I can't see myself beyond this.
Beyond this. And there's something greater than you being in a position. It's called legacy.
Wow.
It is you who have done what you have done so that someone else may take over while you are still alive. Because it is always advisable that people must take over while you're still alive so that you can be able to say, no. I don't think we are heading towards the right direction.
Yeah.
And the African leadership style, we need to be exhausted. Our life needs to come to an end before someone else takes over. And the succession plan is not in place. It communicates some inferiority complex.
Yeah.
That maybe someone can come in and do better than me. And that the true leadership must actually say that. That whoever must take over here must do better. And we will remember you as a leader. But if you remain the best leader, we will regret losing you. But we must celebrate you. We must celebrate that you have paved the way.
Yeah.
You have created the future in the past.
Yeah.
We must celebrate that. So leadership must be about young people.
Yeah.
You know that I'm advocating for young people. It must be about the young blood to take over while we are still here.
Yeah.
I look at some organization. I look at how they hold on to power. And I ask myself, if at all they had a skill, when are they going to pass it down to the next generation?
Wow.
Because at some point you need to stop. To say, I'm tired now. I need to go home and enjoy my wife. And enjoy my home that I worked hard for. I need to enjoy my great-grandchildren. When are they going to get there? They are young people. The rate of unemployment for young people is high.
Very high.
Because positions are occupied by old people who are sleeping in meetings. Because they don't have such an energy anymore. They have the intellect to direct the next generation. They have the ability, they have the experience, they have what it takes, but they don't want to sit down and watch these kids. Wow. It is in us. Ukuthi wena mfana hamba ungithengele isnefu lapha. Hamba thengela umkhulu udrink lapha while we are sitting. Why this leadership cannot do that?
And send the young people.
And see if this child will never come back. Athi baba bathi Coca-Cola ehlaza ayikho la. And then say ayikho Coca-Cola ehlaza, Coca-Cola emnyama. Lokho kuluhlaza okhuluma ngakho wena, it's cream soda. I did not say cream soda. Go tell them that I'm looking for Coca-Cola. Then we are sharpening the next generation. Then we are not going to be stagnant where we are. The poverty that we find ourselves in, those who are working, those who are fortunate now, they are chowing their money. They are wasting their money. They are actually baphenduka iy'khothane enkonga. I'm not against Konga anyway because it's a business that needs to try. But I'm saying, why is this generation so what's the right obsessed with being seen as successful? You are successful, and what about the next generation, Ngubane? This is what we are addressing.
This is thought-provoking.
Legacy. You don't just mamela, Ngubane. Whether you choose or you choose not, you will leave a legacy. But you need to leave it deliberately.
Wow.
You need to say, what is it that I want to leave behind? But do not boast about the 10 million life covers only that you leave, or the bank accounts, fat stolen money that are sitting in our accounts. Forget that. Will these children be able
to sustain
the money and multiply that money? What have you taught them? That is legacy. The money is inheritance. Let us not confuse the two.
I like how you speak about the difference between inheritance and the legacy. Please take us through that.
Legacy would be your values. Inheritance would be your valuables.
Okay.
Catherine Lees, who used to be a head of marketing at One Life, gave us that quote while I was writing the book. And when I was asking people what is legacy in your, and then what would be your difference, like an interview of some sort, and then she said that. And I was taken aback, and then I said, I knew ukuthi umnotho angeke kube ifamlando. You need to leave that footprint, your values, those who come after you. What is it that you can associate the SN? And I mean, now it's about SN, the SN with the Scelo Ngubane. What is it that you want to? We know arts, passion, excellence, dedication. We know creativity, hope and inspiration. We know that we will always associate Scelo Ngubane with that.
Yeah.
And when I look at your kids, I'll be looking for that.
They must resemble that.
They must resemble that. And we are not saying these kids must be dancers, they must be stage play writers, they must like yourself. We are saying in whatever they do, we must see the values that made their father. What have you taught them? Because people will hide behind poverty and say, yeah, they're talking about legacy about Scelo because Bona, they are working with One Life, they are paid well, they have money. We don't have money. Money is always there to be used. But that's not what we are talking about. We are talking about what are you teaching? Kunomntwana othi namhlanje ugogo wami wayethi ubohamba uhloniphe umhlaba. And indeed, when you look at this child is walking like that on earth.
Wow.
That is the legacy. What is the net worth of Mother Teresa?
Wow.
Tell me the net worth of Mother Teresa.
I don't know.
Have you ever thought about it?
Yeah, now that you're asking, I'm thinking.
But what is Mother Teresa known for?
Saving, humanity, love.
Today, when you are pushing those values, they say, Mother Teresa.
Wow. That's a legacy.
That's a legacy. But that legacy must be enabled.
Yeah.
When you make money, put aside what the insurer will ask from you so that your children will have the 10 million that you have never given them.
Wow. Now, as you look at South Africa and the world today, there is a question of leadership. You've touched the fact that we have very few young people who are given an opportunity to lead. What can we do in this globe, in this world today, to make sure that we come to values where we can coerce, solidarity in terms of where we are heading? Because now there's this isolation that we have where people, ubheka indaba zakho uhlukane nezami and all of that, and that is really making us not to be. We're talking about foreigners now. I mean, foreign nationals. That as much as you may say akusiyo inkinga yakho, but inkinga yakho at the end of the day. How do we come together?
We don't start by coming together.
Yeah.
We start by becoming ourselves. Who are you in your own home?
Okay.
What is the vision of this particular family? What are the values that I want to impart to this family? You have young people right within your house. When do you delegate? What are the signs of your own children leading this family further? Before we start talking about the government.
Family first.
If they were to say, we are stepping down, who do you recommend? Who would you recommend? Because we are talking about a whole lot of young people who can do this thing. Who are they? Me and you. Let us start Ngubane. Who can lead Ngubane besides you?
Wow.
Who can lead Nkosi besides me?
Identify the leaders.
Identify that. Once you have identified that, try to develop that, support that, so that we develop an
enabling society.
Society, from our family level.
Oh wow.
Then once you have such families, you can then look up and say, but you see now you are letting us down. We have done so much work here.
Yes.
And what is it that you are doing there? Because the crime we are complaining about, it is not necessarily coming from government down. It is coming from our own homes. We are eating crime money. We are sitting and staying in houses that are built through criminal activities.
And we're not able to hold each other accountable.
We can't hold each other accountable. And yet we have a nerve to make noise to the government about their criminal activities themselves, because they are also criminals. Some of them.
Yeah. So it must start home.
It must start here.
You remind me of the quote by Mother Teresa who says, for us to be able to finish the poverty in this world, we must all go back and love our families.
Family first, Baba. Family first.
Wow.
Inculcate this culture from the family level.
Yeah.
If we are still struggling with families, right now we have men who do not want to take responsibility for their children. With so many reasons around it. Some are not working, some were working, lost employment, lost hope, angry at themselves, eventually to their mothers. And I don't want to make excuses, because just now I will be perpetuating this gender-based violence that is so senseless in our communities. But the truth of the matter is that we have a problem.
Yeah.
And the problem starts with families. If I am working and your brother's child is not working, what are you doing about it? Because the problem, at the end of the day, it's going to affect the entire community. What is it that we are doing? Because we need to leave a legacy. Remember, this is why we're discussing all these social ills.
Yeah.
That how are we addressing them? Through the impartation of values that will assist this community moving forward.
And we must have these uncomfortable discussions because these are the taboo that we don't normally talk about.
Yeah.
What prompts these social ills?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Same as you are working now. You earn a lot of money. You buy expensive whiskies. And your life cover for about 10 million could have been at least about 1,000, 1,005, I don't know, depending. And you could have achieved that.
But we're drinking it.
But you're drinking it. And then the next generation will start from scratch while you were here, living, earning a lot of money. Some of us, we have, invested thousands and thousands in ensuring that the next generation is enabled financially. Not because we have money. We sometimes feel maybe we should take this money and, buy a cow here and there. But you think, what if it happens tomorrow that I'm not here?
Wow.
So there are things that we need to be able to say to ourselves and to each other. Singakhohlisani, James. Singakhohlisani. We're wasting money that should have gone to the next generation. And God will never forget your labor of love. If you are going to say the next generation, God would say, He's sharing. He's helping me to sustain humanity. Therefore, your cup will overflow.
Wow.
It's a mentality. It's a mindset that attracts. It's a readiness that makes people. There are people who should be multimillionaires today. They are not because they are not ready.
In their minds.
They're not ready.
That's so profound.
No, they're not ready. This thing, it's not a matter of capabilities, whether you are able or you are not able. It's readiness. Are you ready?
An ability.
Are you ready to handle it?
Yeah.
Are you ready to handle it? No.
If you're willing, there's a way.
No, if you're willing. It is first a willing heart. If you look at it very well, Mabizo, I promise you, a lot of people have a potential to become what God has created them to be. Because this is another thing that we must correct, we motivational speakers. This thing that we talk to people about, and they say, you can be whatever you want. People want to be many things. People want to be prostitutes. People want to be criminals. Drug dealers and all these things. So you can't tell people that. You need to be able to say to people, you can be what God has created you to be. You can be what you have to be, because that's where the power is, in your purpose.
Wow. You're so grounded in terms of God, and your principles always revolve around God. And did you grow up in church? Who introduced you to that life and that philosophy?
I was in Greytown. That was 1983. When I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. I was young. Ngangingazi nokuthi ngenzani, ngezwa lento ingibamba, ngezwa nje ngento ithi qi. Ngezwa nje ngento ithi qi, eshumayela ubaba imali yakhe Dlomo emakhabeleni. Wathi ngime eminyango, ngiyanqonqoza umuntu ezwe lapha, akavule ngiyodla naye, naye adle nami. And then I saw this beautiful man who wants to eat with me, who is knocking. Then I stood up.
Wow.
And then I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. And at the time, my mother was a Christian. I'm from my background is Christianity. My grandfather, Upindi Kala, Thomas Nkosi, was a Christian. My grandmother, Nandombela, was a Christian. Michael Shabalala was a Christian. Intombi Agnen was a Christian. Unamhaisa, my great grandmother from my father's side, was a Christian. Ukresi Tabed, my great grandmother, was a Christian.
Wow.
I know nothing else.
Isegazini le.
I know nothing else. I know nothing else. Honestly, I've seen them standing on pulpits. I saw them. Obviously, I did not see my. Unfortunately, how I wish sometimes that I would have met my grandmother Nantombela from my. It didn't happen. I still have that thing. I should have seen my grandmother maybe at least once, and maybe a few years. But the rest, I've seen them standing
Wow.
on pulpits wearing their church uniform, praying, singing songs. Wenhliziyo yami, mawuhlakaniphe.
Wow.
And I understood such thing, songs. That's why even today, when people sing these songs, Waymaker, miracle, but say, hlengiwe limnandi lelizwi, hlengiwe negazi lemvana. Then I listen better.
Wow.
Because I've
You
had,
connect.
I've had my grandmothers and my grandfathers singing such songs. Now it is that, and my mother, though she became a sangoma, but she's back. She's doing her degree on theology. She loves the Lord.
Wow.
And I always knew, read Limping from Greatness to Greatness, I knew that woman is a prophet of God.
Wow.
Yeah, so yes, I'm from that background. But I've seen God rescuing us. Futhi abantu bakwaNgubane. Emakhabeleni. Igota ngisho
Yeah.
uyazi. Kusemakhabeleni la. Lezansi. Kusemabovini. So those guys would cut their timber, would cut their,
Indeed,
yeah, and then so the guys from Abodlomo,
Yeah.
Makabel, nababovu, they were fighting as lezo zinto. So mina ngihambe esigangeni noThabani wasekhaya. Hayi le ndoda isimisi siyayibona iphethe isibhamu ningaba kwabani sihlala kwaDlomo nona uthi uyawubheka ucicana ukho, which means this guy is from the other, and this guy would have just and we said singaba kwaNkosi, and then he just left us, and the only thing I could see and I could believe was the man who knocked on my door. So that he can eat with me and I can eat with him.
Wow.
And mina bengizibonela ubaba ophethe fork and knife. Uzomgwaza lo baba lo we fork and knife lo muntu makangathi uyasidubula. That was me thinking.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of projects now. You said you're doing the tour. How much of impact are you aiming with that project?
This tour, I think our partner can measure the impact better. Tina, we are pushing passion of saying, let us leave a legacy. But the impact, the measuring stick that we will use is when we hear a lot of leaders talking about legacy.
Okay.
And we see a lot of leaders coming from this legacy mindset and pushing that is the only thing. If you want to value it in rand and cents, yes, our partners are taking good care of us. But that's not the aim of the charm. The aim of the choice is that people must understand that you are here, just like you have an apple and a seed in an apple. When it falls into the ground, when it germinates, you are expecting an apple.
Yes.
We are here. When we die, the next generation must be the reflection of what we have been. That is the impact.
Wow.
If you look at freedom versus apartheid, the impact is that we have freedom that we do not even know how to handle because we were given an inheritance without any values imparted into us.
Wow.
We don't know how to handle this thing.
That's so profound.
We don't know how to handle it.
I believe you have something that you can share with our viewers as we conclude, encouraging, especially in times like this during after COVID. I don't know whether it's still there or not there, or it's going to come back. But in this status of the country, what should we do? Maybe encouraging the viewers at home.
Whether it is going or coming, we shall remain.
Wow.
Whatever situation you are in, it's not permanent. I'm not speaking from the point of privilege. I know where I've been.
Yeah.
I know what our people are going through. I know what God's people are going through. But I have seen him. I did not know about God. I just, I just experience him. I have made it my everyday expectation that I want to experience God. I don't want to know him. I don't want to know about him. I want to experience him. You will experience God because God is able and God is faithful.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact, if you keep pushing, if you keep doing what you are doing, and that which is right for God's people will reward you. So keep going. Stay the course. Never say die. In any case, if you give up on that difficult thing that you are pursuing, what else are you hoping to do? Sit there and we feel sorry for you. Uzoba umthwalo kabani. Keep going.
Wow.
It is the rock that will crack. And when it cracks, you will see the water gushing out of that.
You remind me of umfundisi uNdaba wathi uNkulunkulu akawadla amandla omuntu.
Nkulunkulu akawadla amandla omuntu. Keep going. I started there with Pastor Nomthandazo Mthalane and Pastor Nyalunga. What's the school? Those people, when I was just a boy, embraced me.
Wow.
I'm counting a lot of people. The Buyanes one is the Apostles Tole, the Matthews Mohafe P3. I mean, now the One Life, Lawrence, Anton, Kobas, Catherine, Brina, all those people who are embracing me. I'm not self-made. Now, value those relationships. They will take you far.
I hope you're inspired at home. If you're sitting there in your limping, take a pen and the paper, just like Scelo Nkosi did. Write your story, write your message, own up to your story. Your story may transform the world. It might shake the world. Is ngahamba is your figure peshe and be edited. Kwasbani, your story might be edited in Russia. Putin and say you are a warrior and celebrate you. I hope that you are inspired today. May God bless you. May God be with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Babizo.
Bizo.